And that's pretty much it. You have a lot of different discussion boards to reflect on because we do want to spend some time introducing ourselves. But our exercise this week, which will kind of expand on that, is the circles of my multicultural self. This exercise is something that you would normally do in person, so the online format is a little different, but I don't see any reason why we can't do it online and have some discussion around it and learn from it. But this is a good example of an intercultural training exercise that can be used, and is a good one to start off with and break the ice. Although you have to be cautious with it because you're asking your participants, and I'm asking you, to share some stories, to share some background about times when you were judged or a stereotype was made about one of your cultural identities, and those can be very difficult. One thing that I ask all of my learners to do, and I would ask you to do too, is as we're having these discussions and reflecting on our own persons and our own biases and our own privilege and our own disadvantages, as we reflect on those things, you want to be careful to protect yourself. And I say that because I think it's sometimes we get into issues and people kind of go into these areas that are very sensitive for them and they haven't worked them out. And not that I don't want you to share those sorts of things. I think they're important and we learn from them. But you just want to be aware of your vulnerability. I think you can count on me and count on your classmates to be respectful, and for me to also manage the discussion. So if I see things that I worry about, how they're affecting one or the other of us, I'll jump in and say something. But at the same time, you want to make sure you don't open up something in your own life that you're not going to be able to close within a discussion, or it's going to hurt you. You just want to be protective of yourself. So I just say that to kind of give that caution. I think it's an important thing for all of you to have, and for us as intercultural trainers to share with our learners. I just think sometimes people start sharing things that they haven't necessarily thought through what they mean or where they're going to go. And if there isn't significant time or significant trust amongst the group to really work through those things together, then that person can be left kind of high and dry without that closure, and it can do some damage. So if you have any questions on that or concerns or things you're thinking about sharing and aren't sure about, feel free to email me and ask me those things. I have had students also who will have a personal experience they don't want to share with the course, but they would like to share with me. So I would welcome that if you're comfortable. And I think that in setting our ground rules for this course in week 1, I'm hopeful that we can set a climate of trust and that we'll all feel okay sharing some of these more personal stories and life stories and life experiences, because I think they'll make for a rich learning experience. But I just kind of want to set out that balance so that we're all cognizant of what we're engaging in. And also, on the flip side, please make sure that you're being respectful of your classmates. And if you hear a story that you think is a personal one and a difficult one to share, just be extra sensitive around that with your comments and your responses and your questions, so that nobody gets put in a bad situation, nobody gets shut down and doesn't want to participate as much or as fully. So just bear that in mind. And again, any questions on that, please give me a shout. So this has been a much longer lecture than planned, but I think it kind of goes through the whole course. I think future weeks' lectures will be a little shorter, but hopefully it gives you a good sense So I look forward to our discussion this week, and I look forward to the whole course with you. We'll see you online soon.